Hawks had a great start. They won a game and they lost a game, but it's only round one. Welcome back to the DC Hawks pre-match show. I'm Roshni Chasmawala, and today I'm joined with not only the president of the WCL, but also the vice president, Anand, Patel, and Niall.
Welcome, guys, to the DC Hawks pre-match show. I want to ask first, did you guys enjoy the round one matches? Not just DC Hawks matches, but obviously there was so much action going on at the same time. Did you guys enjoy the action, Anand?
Yeah, definitely. Because again, it's something where we have like our own team. So it was not just following the Hawks game, but then once you're done with that, you have another action-packed game. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and Niall?
Yeah, we were keenly following it. Not exactly DC Hawks is our team, but one of our teammates is playing with the DC Hawks, Abdullah Ghazi. So I know most of my teammates, they were following and watching and enjoyed. Unfortunately, we won one game and lost one. It's part of the game, and hopefully they will learn from this and come stronger this weekend.
Yeah. So, speaking about that round one, let's kind of quickly do a recap of that. So the first game, right, they played against Florida Beamers. They did lose the toss, and they went into bat first, but they were able to put up 185, which was really a really good start. We saw brilliant performances, especially from the top order, especially Sunny going out there opening, getting it at 50, a captain's knock. And then Ravi and they're, playing it big, getting an 80. That really, helped accelerate, because I think there was one point where we didn't have enough runs on the board and he really accelerated, especially in the last 5 overs. And then Franklin, doing a little cameo at the end just to add in those runs. And even with the bowling, we did a really good job, getting the Beamers, especially the key wickets that they needed. Obviously Sarji Ladda, being on fire that whole weekend in both the games, taking 3 wickets in this. And then Abdul Jabbar and Abdullah Ghazi as well, taking in those wickets, which I think was really crucial. So, this game, everything was fine. It was the first game. Anything that you guys want to add on this match?
Yeah, one thing that I really liked about this game is especially how our top order first took some time to get adjusted to the conditions, because it was obviously something new for them. A lot of them have played on turf wickets before, but I really liked that how, whether it was Sunny, Adil, or even Ravi in the initial part, they took their time to get adjusted, and then they started putting the accelerator down. And then, like you said, at the end, thanks to Ravi and Clement and the middle order, how they ended up posting a very competitive score.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Niall, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, it was a total all-round performance by the team. The big guns, Ravi Inder and Sunny Sohal, they came big with scoring 50s. It wasn't easy scoring on that slow and uneven pitch, and then that made the job for the bowlers easy. And then Sarabjit Ladda, I watched him and he was unplayable. He was mixing it very well with his googlies and regular leg spinners. So, and then the rest of the bowlers, they supported them well. And hopefully, they will be relying on Ravi and Sunny Sohal this coming weekend as well. But hopefully the middle order joins the party as well this weekend.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that. I know we're so excited for these 2 matches. Now the next game, right? So the one thing was back-to-back matches, and they also lost the toss. So we need to figure out how to get Sunny to be able to win tosses, because so far no luck in that. So they lost the toss and they had to go back and field again. So it was like playing a 40-over game almost, fielding 20 overs and going back and fielding. So for this, especially when we look at, in the second innings when they had to bat, one New England Eagles put up 146. You would think, especially with our batting lineup, especially with what we showed on the same pitch, just a few hours before, we would expect that this should be an easy chase. But unfortunately, I think their bowlers got the best of our batsmen as well. Adil was able to, get in a good start. He got those 30 runs in. But then after that, once our top order was also down, the openers were gone after. And then even with the middle order, there wasn't really that partnership that was being able to build. Dane was able to score in those 24 runs, and especially our youngster, under 19 player Ritvik, getting in 19 runs. So I think that was great, that one, Ritvik being able to go there, especially, being a turf wicket as well and being able to play out like that. And he has that experience, so it's good to, see his performance like that. And bowling again, Sarabjit Ladda, being so unplayable, right? Taking the 5-wicket haul in that game. Abdullah taking 1 wicket. And then, yeah, with the bowling, this time around was a bit difficult to get some of their batsmen out. So what are some things that you would take away from this game that, they definitely will need to, be prepared for this weekend? Niall, if you want to start off first.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, it's logistically, it's a little difficult to schedule games, and then that definitely played a part in to have back-to-back games. So similar to the pitch wearing and tearing, so the fielders and the players they were run down as well. So I mean, it was a good learning experience, especially for the young kids, Ritwik Behera, Abdullah Ghazi. They performed well. Hopefully, they will learn from that. I think maybe they need to talk more like it's somebody. If you get a start, you need to convert that. So Adil Bhatti, he batted well for his 30. So it's like one person, either him or Dan Peet, they needed to convert. I think it's a game they should have won. They controlled the game for the most part. They were like 103 or 106 after for sixth. The New England Eagles, and then they posted 146, which was still chaseable, but then the pitch played a part in it. It's the ball was staying low, and that affected the chase as well. Hopefully, I mean, one thing they can learn from this is somebody needs to convert. If you get a start, especially one person needs to score that big 50, the 70s, 80s, and then the rest of the players, batsmen, they can bat around them.
Yeah, and Anand.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, like one thing that was different in at least in our batting compared to the first game that we won was as I said, like we had Ravinder stay pretty much for the entire innings, and especially when you are chasing, even if it's not a high score, you do want at least one of your top three or top four to stand and take it. So even though Bhatti, Dane, and Ritwik got starts, we wanted one of them to basically carry it over. And then, yeah, I agree. Like the last 2 or 3 overs of our bowling, we probably gave a little bit more than what we should have, which kind of gave them something to defend. But still, I mean, 140 is a score that we should have chased given the batting lineup that we have. So I'm sure they are going to learn from this and then take all the revenge out this weekend.
Yes, absolutely. And especially because we're playing the New England Eagles 3 times, so 2 more times. So hopefully those 2, we have under our belts. Before we go on to the action this weekend, which I know, we're all excited about, I also want to kind of know about your opinions of this minor league cricket. One, you guys have been a part of the WCL right now, running it as well. And then especially seeing, this whole minor league happen now. We've been having talks about some kind of league happening in America for so many years now, and it's finally happened. Things are moving forward. And I think it's also going to just up, the cricket and everything that goes on in the WCL, the DMV area. So, Anand, if you want to start off first.
Yeah, one thing that I really, really like about this is, to me, honestly, for someone who has been following US cricket for almost about 15 years, hands down, I would say this is the best thing that has happened in the history of US cricket so far. And more so because, yes, like you said, you will see players playing in different leagues or different tournaments, but one that is a lot of times that's just regional, like the DMV area or maybe Florida area. If they're playing like a national tournament, then it's a very short term, like a 1-week tournament, versus this is something which is one national, and 2, it's something which is a long term, like a 2-3 month type of a tournament. And more importantly, like I said initially, it gives us that feeling that, yeah, we have our own team to root for. So it brings everyone in DMV area together. And like you see, I'm wearing my orange today to show my support for the Hawks.
Yes, go DC Hawks. Keep the spirit up. Niall, if you want to add.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, as Anand says, history was made last week, and the credit goes to all the owners and the minor league administrators and the major cricket league. Hopefully, history was made from coast to coast. Games were played, and then the live streaming had connected the whole cricket fraternity. So we were following games. So we had a team playing in Texas, then we had a team playing in Florida. So we were watching back and forth. So to some estimates, I say like there may have been like 200,000 views from the live streaming. This is a beginning of something special, and it's a great platform for all the cricketers, especially the youngsters and the youth. And then hopefully, this is going to be a great stepping stone for the major cricket league, and then this is going to benefit the leagues as well. And that's why we are supporting this initiative, and leagues around the country, they're supporting this initiative because they see something they feel ownership. So we feel like we're part of it and we're contributing as well. Like we being part of the DC Hawks. Rajat Bhai, the owner of DC Hawks, I mean, he's been asking the league for input and he's listening and he's giving opportunities to youngsters as well.
Yeah, I think, it's like this, like minor league cricket and then obviously major league has brought so much, brought cricket together. Obviously it's going to incorporate all these leagues because this is where the players are coming from, right? Like minor league happens for like a month and a half, 2 months. But after that, they're going to be playing from those local areas and stuff. So that's going to up the competition because now everyone will also want to be in a minor league, So I think right now, players that aren't a part of it, like they have so much more time, it's just a start. So I'm sure, they'll be also looking at their personal performances, how they can get better because now there's actually a platform there. As you mentioned, one, like, I don't think there's ever been a tournament where every match is, live telecast and you can go and watch it again as well. So I think it's really great. Obviously it's only going to be now round 2. So there's still so much there. I'm sure lots will improve, even as a team, we'll keep getting better and better and learn as well on how everything works. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great weekend, and hopefully the teams and the league or the minor league, they're going to improve on this, and then I think it's going to get better and better.
Yep, absolutely. So now it's time to actually get into the action, especially round 2 coming up. Okay, so the first game that we have is against the Philadelphians. So that's going to be on Saturday at 2 p.m. So I kind of want to ask you guys, one, it's going to be at the Exton Park, which, is an AstroTurf. I've heard it's a fairly newer side AstroTurf. So you have to keep in mind, like, we went from turf league, but I think most of these guys are really accustomed to playing on Astro more than maybe turf for some of the guys. For DC Hawks, pretty much all of them have played, a lot of matches on both, Astro and turf. But if we look at, both of these squads, why don't we first look at the Philadelphian squad? Who do we think are some players that especially can score those runs and that DC Hawks will want to try to get their wickets? I mean, one for me definitely, I think was, Jonathan Carter, like scored in both of the games. So he is definitely someone, he was not out in the first game, like the Philadelphians play over the weekend. And even in the second game, he had a good number of runs. So I think he's someone that definitely is a key wicket because he scored in both matches. But Anand, if you want to add on.
Yeah, so I mean, like you said, it's played on AstroTurf. I did look up the field. I believe it is a relatively newer field also. One thing that I like, or a couple of things actually that I like about our games this weekend is, one, all teams are going in with the same record. They all are 1-1, like whether it's the Philadelphians, whether it's us, unfortunately, or Cavaliers.
Somerset, yeah.
When we play later. But one good thing is, I personally think Philadelphians are a relatively, I mean, it's nothing in cricket is easy, but it's a relatively lighter team that we'll be facing. So it will, just like what happened last weekend, it will give them some time or some leniency to adjust to the new conditions. As far as the players go, yeah, I agree. Jonathan Carter is definitely one because he already has a 50 off his back.
And 63, he was 63 not out as well. In the one game against, I think, the Morrisville. So, that is something he's already scored, well. So, and in both games, so I think he's definitely going to be one batsman, that definitely, but it's both the Jonathans, even Jonathan Fu, had a good innings in one of the games. Other than that, we didn't see as much from their side in terms of, a good innings. But I'm sure, obviously every weekend you don't know which player is going to come up. But I think those might be some good names in terms of, key wickets for the DC Hawks bowlers to try to have out early.
Yeah, I think Derek also hit a 50 if I remember, and Derek actually has played in WCL previously as a player for. So I'm sure some of our players would personally have played against him or with him.
Yep.
So that again is something which might help them going into this game.
Absolutely. Niall, if you want to add any.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be played on AstroTurf, so it's going to be a high-scoring game, I believe. The only disadvantage for DC Hawks is because it's for the Philadelphians, it's their home ground, I believe. So they will be playing on a home turf. We'll have some support. But the three the Caribbean players are Derek Narayan, who's based out of New York. He is a very young, a good talent, left-handed batsman, so he can be key. Jonathan Fu, the Guyanese cricketer, and then the former West Indian player Jonathan Carter, he will be key for them to put a big total.
Yeah, and I think hopefully DC Hawks bowlers will be able to get those wickets kind of early on to not let them convert that total. But who on the DC Hawks side do you think against the Philadelphians will need to take that step up in terms of batting, right? We've seen a couple players, but I think, it can't always be relied, I think, on Sunny and Ravi. Obviously, I think one of them do need to take, that initiative that if one is out, the other one kind of needs to help, edge the inning on because of their experience. But, who else do you guys expect, a little bit more from that maybe you didn't see over the past weekend?
I mean, to me, it's like they will be relying on the top three. But we're, in my opinion, I think we may be a little bit weaker in the middle order. So maybe if they can add another explosive hitter, Talal Zia, who plays very well on AstroTurfs, to strengthen their batting, that he may be the trump card. I mean, he can give them good start and quick runs. But apart from that, Ravi Inder and Sunny Sohal, who play like orthodox cricket, and so they will be relying on them.
Okay, and Anand?
Yeah, I mean, as a true DC Hawks fan, I obviously am hoping for every single player to step up. But for me personally, I know I'm pretty hopeful or pretty confident that Adil is going to step up this game. Mainly because he has that experience of playing not just in a domestic structure, but even like representing the country. And also, since it's AstroTurf, it's not just his batting, but I don't know. I know he was having some niggles, so I don't know whether he's ready to bowl yet or not. But
we're gonna hope. Yeah.
So
I think
that might be another area also where he can contribute.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Adil also in the exhibition game did score a half century against the Philadelphians. So I know the squad has changed, but, hopefully that carries forward because I'm not sure where they played their exhibition game last year. But, hopefully that also kind of connects with him. But yeah, we have to also look into, we do have some players, that have been injured. So Adil, didn't bowl that round one. We'll see how, maybe if he gets a chance to bowl in one of these games, if he's feeling well. And then Gaurav also had gotten injured right before, the round one. So I think that also in the batting, we lose out on. But yeah, anything else that you guys wanted to add in this game, even in terms of, the bowling lineup or anything like that before we move on to the second game?
To me, it's like I think Adil Bhatti definitely, if he's 100%, he will be key. If he gets going on AstroTurf, he will be key. But Ravi Inder and Sunny Sohal, I think their job is to stay as long as possible on the wicket. But Ravi Teja, he's a very big hitter. I mean, if he gets going, he can be key as well. One other thing is maybe it's somehow they can fit in Christopher Ventel. He's a very big hitter and keeper, and he can, apart from his batting and his keeping, he can just bring everybody up. He is very chirpy behind the stump, so I'm not sure if he will have a place, but if he gets going and he plays, he will be key as well.
Yeah, and I like, I'm going to just go on to the next one, but I like how you mentioned, the addition of players, because if we look at the first two matches, we did have the same playing 11. So I don't know if, in the second match, if that should have been a change. Obviously, when you have a winning combination, you want to go with that. But, you mentioned some changes that maybe could work, especially with the AstroTurf, and especially when you look at this game on Sunday, that's going to be played at 10 a.m. Somerset Cavaliers have a strong batting lineup. I think, their batting is definitely stronger than their bowling. So I think, against them, depending if DC Hawks is batting first or, bowling first. But if they're batting first, I think they definitely need to be scoring over 180 runs again, because New Jersey Somerset Cavaliers, they were over 200 runs in one game and then 185 and they lost that. So they also have that. So I think that's going to be really key to know that they have a long batting lineup, honestly, when it comes to their openers up until number 5 and 6. So if we look at, the Somerset Cavaliers, who are those main wickets, for DC Hawks bowlers to kind of pick on? Anand, if you want to add.
Roshni, just want to make another. Yeah, I just want to make another point about the Saturday game. It's at 2 o'clock for DC Hawks. So, and there's another game being played at 10 o'clock. So maybe that will give them
So I've
some
I've actually
advantage.
heard that that game might not happen. So if it does, that would be great. I think maybe the guys can actually go and check that out as
I
well
know
before this
exactly.
game. Yeah. I think that would be really helpful. Hopefully they'll get a chance to go to the field early on in to make those plans and those changes in the 11.
Yeah.
So we'll find out. I think that's a really good tip, and hopefully the team, gets that message as well. But Anand, if you want to add in terms of, the Somerset Cavaliers, the key batsmen to get out.
Yeah, I mean, see, well, one thing, I'm by no means am I an expert or anything, but one thing that, like you said, Somerset does have a very strong and a long batting lineup. What my advice to DC Hawks would be, one, not to get overwhelmed, because like you said, both their games last weekend were high scoring games. So if I was a DC Hawks player, I will go in assuming it's going to be a high scoring game and plan accordingly. But again, it's just sticking to the basics, making sure we restrict them to as less as possible. And then I have full faith in our batting lineup that regardless of what target they post, we will be able to, like you saw, Atlanta Fire was able to chase almost 200 against them. So
Yep.
I'm pretty confident and we'll be able to do that also. At the end, all we need is just one run more than what we scored. So that's how.
Exactly. And Niall, if you want to add.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the Somerset Cavaliers, they're a batting dominated team with Xavier Marshall there, the Kenner Lewis, the Jamaican cricketers, and Shafane Rutherford is there as well, Chandapal Hemraj. So, but again, it seems like their bowling is weaker, but I think they may be relying on spinners. But it's anybody's game. It's on AstroTurf. I mean, DC Hawks has very big hitters, and then orthodox cricketers in Sunny Sohal and Ravi in there. Ravi Teja is there, Adil Bhatti is there, Dan Peet, the former South African. If they get going, I think it'll be a cracker of a game to watch.
Yeah. And one thing about the DC Hawks that's, compared to the other teams, right? Like all these players have played in, numerous tournaments, across America. So they've played against Kennard Lewis, Xavier Marshall, most of these guys that are in their squad. So I think that's going to help, right? Kennard Lewis in both the games, got going. He had, I believe 250s as well. So I think, he's going to be one player that, obviously getting him out early is definitely going to, just put the team back a bit. But I think that's just something, the bowlers just need to, make sure that they know kind of in terms of, the wickets and they will do their natural thing, I would say kind of, not getting too overwhelmed so that the players, take advantage of that. But yeah, I think the bowling lineup in Somerset Cavaliers, Kareem Agor was the one who took, most of the wickets in the one game. So he, we know he's a fine batsman and bowler, fine all-rounder. On the DC Hawks side, in terms of the bowling, we saw in the first round, Sarabjit Ladda, took the most wickets. So any predictions for this weekend, who the standout bowler could be for the Hawks? Anyone that wants to add?
If you want to go first, I'm going to take it.
I can take it. I mean, I again would be backing Sarabjit Ladda there. But one thing that I would like to see compared to last weekend, like if you look at and again, it's only just 1 week so far, but like you could see Sarabjit, like for example, had 8 wickets versus the rest were just 1 or 2. So this is, and given how heavy their batting lineup is, this is one game where even the other bowlers would need to step up on that sense. And like even if we have Sarabjit who is doing really well, we need other bowlers to kind of support and make sure we keep that score down as much as possible.
Yeah. Any names, Niall, if you want to add in any names, someone that you think might be able to step up, especially considering that this time around it's, also an Astro. So this way, like, there's not an advantage for either of the, the bowlers that we have.
Yeah. I mean, definitely Sarabjit Ladda, I mean, he was unplayable, but this is on AstroTurf. I mean, he does flight the ball well. So hopefully, I mean, he's very experienced. I think he will be very much effective. But apart from that, Abdul Jabbar, the left arm spinner, he's quick through the air. I think he can be the difference. And Abdullah Ghazi on his day, if he gets going and it's his day, then he can be that standout bowler as well.
Yeah, absolutely. In the past few weekends, Abdullah with the bat and ball, has been performing really well, you know, when it comes to WCL as well. So hopefully, you know, this weekend he'll be able to convert that over as well, and DC Hawks will get both the wins in. You know, we're gonna hope, and hopefully that is what happens. Before we kind of, you know, end this pre-show, is there anything else you guys want to add about whether it's about the DC Hawks or the minor league?
Well, one thing, especially for that Cavaliers game, one thing that I would add is, for me personally, I think that is the game of the. I might be biased towards DC Hot, but for me, that is the game of the conference this week. Even though someone like Sherfane or Kennar or Rossi, they have played for 22 yards previously, I do have some soft corner for them or some brownie points. But again, at the end of the day, I'm wholeheartedly rooting for the Hawks. So I'm hoping that 1-1 will convert to a 3-1.
Yes, we're really gonna hope. Niall, if you want to add in.
It's going to be a good weekend for DC Hawks. Hopefully we'll win 2-0. I mean, they have the talent and the experience. They just need to believe, and then hopefully we will bring the 2 wins this weekend. And I think everybody needs to contribute, and hopefully in the middle order, if we can strengthen that a little bit, and then maybe add a little bit of explosiveness at the top with Talal Zia or Christopher Mantel, I think we will be the winner.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, thank you guys so much for your expertise. I think, you know, after we have these 2 matches played this weekend, I think, you know, the team will also kind of have an idea of any changes that they want to make, or, you know, the playing 11, and just kind of like how the team is working out, right? Depending on how the performances go. It's only the first weekend. I'm sure all the players, you know, had their nerves up as well, and playing back-to-back matches and traveling, flying and everything. So let's see how this weekend goes. We're going to hope everything goes well, and, you know, retouch next week on the pre-show. So thank you guys.
Pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.